Hey guys, it's your favorite fallen demigod, Lucifer, here back again with another video topic of the next thing that I wanted to share. And that is dating as an Asian American woman. Now, as I'm going back in my timeline, like where it all actually started, I want to say as a teenager, around, I shouldn't even say age 12, but I think that's where it all started. Age 12, age 13, I was talking to this one guy. Um, we're gonna call him JS for total discretion. And he was originally a pen pal that ended up becoming my boyfriend, and I had blindsidedly cheated on him. And at the time, I was really bad with social interactions. I didn't know exactly what it was like to have a boyfriend or like um, to, you know, be a partner within that relationship. And I was young. Um, During this era, I was also on MySpace. Like, I was exploring social media platforms, I was doing a little bit of web design, and even though I was studying more of how to be a web designer, especially with coding, as far as, making a website, building it, editing it, all that good stuff, I got a little distracted with the online social life. And because I had blindly cheated on him, I believe that's where I started doing a lot of reevaluations about what it was like to have a partner. And after that died down, and after my little, I guess, repertoire on MySpace also died down, I tried pursuing a different type of relationship. And that first one with JS was long distance. And naturally, unfortunately, most long distance relationships don't really work out well. Um, I don't remember where he lived. I just know it was probably in California or someplace states away. You know, being a 12-year-old and as boldly as I was, interacting with a stranger. I believe he was 3 years older than me. So, like, dude, I'm still young, and I think because I've like the body type I had, I looked a lot more mature than much what my age was. And as I talked it out with his best friend at the time, who is now currently one of his baby mamas, I don't know if they got married. I wouldn't be surprised if they got married because they've known each other for so long. And I'm just like, why didn't you pursue him if you had those type of feelings for him, and you know you acted more as a partner for him than I ever did. And granted, I was young, so um, after that little debacle, broke it off, pursued another long distance relationship, and this was probably one of my longest long distance relationships I ever was a part of. And he'll go by the name of TL. And I tried sticking it out for him. Like, as I emerge in high school, I am committed and devoted to this one guy, and come to find out that me asking him to talk to me, like, one day out of every week, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, you know, um, it wasn't enough. And I'm like, okay, well, if you have the time to come online and message me and, spend as much time with me as you could, like, why can't you tell me, like, sorry, I can't call you on the phone, this, that, and the third, and, no foreboding communication about his whereabouts. And I will say, as, getting into high school, just mingling with a new crowd of people, different liked age kids within the local area. Like freshman year, it was basically me exploring the people I was surrounded by and getting to know them in a way, until I had reached sophomore year where I hated everything. Hated everything. And once my group of friends, once they had learned that I had a long distance relationship with someone that was like states away, they're like, so why are you waiting for him? I'm just like, because I love him and I want to be with him. Why is that a problem? They're like, well, I mean, you should date somebody or be with somebody that's closer to you. And at that time, I was just like, oh, so that's not a good thing? That's a bad thing? So once I had looked into the relationship a little bit more intently, and he wasn't really, I don't want to say he was well rounded. I think that he was surrounded by people that didn't want us together as well. And the fact that he couldn't do literally the bare minimum of what I wanted him to do, I was having issues breaking it off with him. And in the midst of all that, I got emotionally involved with somebody that was also in a long distance relationship. I mean, the first one, he was states away, and at least with the next one, he was within the same time zone. And then the one guy, we're going to call him DM, he was cities away. So I'm just like, I'm getting a little better with the proximity, And after I broke it off with TL, and I was trying to figure out DM, I had opened up the DM about TL, and he was just like, well, if he can't even call you, then, that's no excuse for him to, like, ghost you, or you having to call him and then being intercepted by his family. And I was just like, well, things happen. Things come up. It's not his fault. And, like, he kind of, like, I don't know, in ways, he talked me out of getting out of the relationship, so I could honestly say some outside forces affected that. But as I'm trying to be committed to DM, and I say trying, because mind you, this is another long distance relationship. We were in and out of the talking phase. He did own a cell phone. TL did not. He had opened up to me about his family history. And then I had learned that his mother was no longer in the picture. We were, I think, like 15, around the age of 15, as he's opening up to me about this. And the hard fact, or hard to swallow fact, that his father was a daily drinker. And when we were trying to move on to the next stage of our relationship, he brought his father to the phone, and I can honestly say I kind of clammed up a little bit, because I think around that age I was very awkward about certain confrontations of that degree, when it came to pursuing somebody in a relationship. Like every parent had something against me throughout all of my high school years in terms of dating somebody. And I do mean all of them. Maybe an exceptional one or two few. But, like, I don't know what it was. So, after I had that awkward conversation with his dad, he was just like, why were you nervous? And I was just like, I, I don't know. Because one, I don't know how to talk to a parent. Two, I have very complicated parents that are very hard for me to open up to, let alone talk to. And three, I really didn't think you were going to bring your dad to the phone. So after that, like, very, very nerve-wracking encounter with him, I decided to break that off. And I was just like, I don't think I'm ready to pursue this relationship with you, especially if I can't even talk to your father over the phone. And mind you, I'm a teenager. I grew up very socially awkward. Like, the, the, the base entry of any guy finding me attractive is what really threw me off, because I didn't quite understand, like why. There was, even now, there's still certain qualities of myself that I don't even find attractive. Like, the big question, would you date you? No, I would not. Like, I would prefer, excluding the fact that I remarried, excluding that, but I would prefer to be alone, especially like during those high school years. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship with anybody, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why it was like the pressure of being, dating somebody. And like, of course, peer pressure, seeing all of these other kids being coupled up and mushy and just puppy loved. And I think what it was is that I wanted to be with someone that that I've known from a very, very young age. Because, I wanted that life. And there are quite a few couples that I had met along the way that literally known each other, if not from middle school, then definitely from high school. I still have friends that I've known since a little past childhood, up until middle school, and I'm still friends with them, or I'm still in communication with them in some way, shape, or form. So, sophomore year, like I said, I hated everything. I I guess you could say I was really taken back by this one guy that I I had very mixed feelings about, because me and him always hung out. Me and him always talked to each other, like, on a friend basis. Like, him, I don't know, like, I really don't remember, like, how me and him, like, even befriended one another, to be honest. Like, there's so many memories back then that I kind of wish I don't want to remember. But out of all people that I wish I remembered, I hated that I don't remember. I just I just know that he would sometimes walk me to class, or vice versa, or catch me in the hallway, or catch me in between lunch, or in between, the class change. And, like, out of all the guys that ever interacted with me, he was the most impactful one. And I wouldn't necessarily say that me and him were high school sweethearts, but I think he came pretty damn near close to it. And when he told me at the end of freshman year that he had to be homeschooled, my heart just dropped. I was just like, wow, like, out of all the guys that are so, decent and, you know, for my standard, like, actually attractive, he ends up going away. My life. So, sophomore year, I think that's one of the main reasons why I hated everything and everyone, because the one person that, like, actually reached out and didn't mean me any, like, ill intent, or wasn't using me or peer pressuring me to anything, he was one of my favorite things. And then uh, there is this one guy he kind of fit my aesthetic at the time. I guess you can call me a baby bat. And a baby bat is basically like a little baby goth. Like, I was very, very deep into the alternative culture, and I was trying to adapt like the Victorian era, or a little bit of Lolita, like little doll type of look, but I kept like going in between emo scene type look as, my mindset kept changing. And TC, he was, I would say, a high school heartthrob, especially amongst like the Asian community before a lot of American people, like more Americanized people, like started noticing him. And because like he was tall, skinny, had the blonde hair, but was Asian, you know, of course a lot of attention flocked to him. He always had cool hairstyle. Um, for me, I guess I gained a reputation of also being that outward Asian person. And then when people would see me and him together, like just hanging out and talking, they would be like, "Oh, you guys should go out. Like, you totally fit each other, and you better hurry up, bro. Like, she's gonna be taken off of the market anytime soon." I'm just like, please don't be my matchmaker. Please do not. And he would feel embarrassed every time, and then I would feel embarrassed for him because I'm just like, no, we have very common interests. And I may have baited him when I told him that I knew little Japanese, and then he started going completely off in the full dialogue. I'm like, wait, hold on, wait a second. He was just like, I thought you knew Japanese. I'm like, only certain phrases. He's just like, oh, that sucks. I could have had like an actual Japanese speaking friend. I'm like, I just like the culture. Sorry. And it did not really, it did not last well because for him there was a lot of drama, and I think he lied to me about being homeschooled because he told me he was going to move back to Maryland. And I also think he was going through a lot of drama in his personal life. I don't think necessarily at home, but the people that he was surrounded by. And as a result of that, I befriended a female by the name of AJ. And ever since I befriended her, like, my life kind of like did a total 180 like throughout high school, because I didn't really have like a close friend like that, or someone that I could lean on, or someone that, was basically my therapeutic, support friend. And she at one point she was basically like tied to me at the hip, where a lot of people thought that me and her were a lesbian couple. I'm like, no, this is just my really good best friend, AJ. So mind your fucking business. Stop spreading rumors. Stop gossiping behind me or behind my back. Stop. Like, just stop. And that's all a lot of people ever did. Like, the rumors ended up like just getting worse and worse, to a point where people were actually insulting me. And it was just like, wow, so it's gotten to that point. Like, why? So, emerging into junior year, and as a small disclaimer, like, any of this relationship that I ever thought was serious was never going to be that serious, but according to some men, or some of the guys, it was serious. So I'm just going to go off the top of my head. Sophomore year is where it got a little crazy. And I say this because the guy that went to that left school for homeschooling at my freshman year, he ended up coming back. Told me that it didn't work out. The teacher that was homeschooling him couldn't keep up with this. I guess she had a hard time keeping up with the schedule. And he wasn't necessarily behind. It's just that he had to take an extra class to get him caught up so that he graduated on time. So one whole year of that, and I was just like, dude, like you literally made me emotionally down spiral, and then you came back literally the next year. Great. But because he had to take that extra class, like, you know, our convergence was just literally non-existent. Like, there was just no way for me to, like, talk to him or hang out with him more. We even had a different lunch. So that was a little disappointing. So in the midst of all that, I get approached by this one guy. Never seen him, never met him. So I'm guessing, I guess more accurately, I've never seen him for the past 2 years. I went to school there. So I think he transferred in during my junior year. I am approached by this very special character. I am standing at the front of the school, right beside the cafeteria, right beside the main office. And the first thing that he said was, either, is that Inuyasha on your bag, or I like your bag, did you make that, or something like that. I don't remember. And I was just like, yeah, what do you think? So I didn't think anything of it, you know. I don't even remember if I carried on conversation with him. I just kept it like very short and retort and just moved on. Didn't think he would ever come back around, because I also found out that he was part of the soccer team, so he eloped like different social groups, and he liked anime. So, um, we were in and out of, I guess, of a relationship. I don't know. I think throughout my whole high school year experience with him, we've legitimately gone out like 3 or 4 different times, and he keeps telling people that we went in and out of a relationship like 9 times in high school. I'm just like, no, absolutely not. Because if I remember correctly, he eloped between different girls while quote unquote being in a relationship with me. So that was my junior year experience. And then senior year, I dated this one guy for like literally probably like mass majority of the whole year, if not half of that school year, by the name of CW. And I found out that he was involved with drugs. I'm like, how can someone so young, like, you know, give in to shit like that? Which would explain like his massive like weight loss, because when I remembered him, this is the crazy hard part about him, but when I remembered him from middle school, he was, you know, a little chunky, he was softy, you know, it didn't bother me. But then when I noticed how he was living his life in high school, and then noticing like massive weight loss, like 1 week he was, you know, average, and then the next week like whole drastic, like, who the hell are you, you know? And then he broke it off with me because he didn't like the fact that I was a bit of a sugar baby and I was getting money by my own means. And he found out in the worst of terms. I may have reluctantly shared a certain link, and then it got redirected. I'm like, oh, oops. Oh well. I'm like, dude, you're out here doing drugs and you're getting mad at me for selling pictures of myself. Like, who has the lowered standards at this point? Because at least in my case, I was making money. In your case, you're spending it on stupid shit. Whatever. After high school, oh god, I tried online dating again because none of the guys around me I liked them at all. Obviously. Um, I got involved with this one guy. We're gonna go ahead and call him by his nickname, which is Frankie. And he had a nickname that went by Zam. I think that's the most dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because I went through an alias by Lou, because at least mine's a little bit more appealing. But it was the same simple fact that neither one of us liked going by our first name or, our birth name, and we went by our nickname. And he liked anime, and then when he learned that I was a stoner, he was a heavy stoner, and recreationally I needed it, and he needed all of it because he had so many mental issues. Like, it was just far beyond, like, bro, this is where I took 1 year out just to see, how it was like to have free will and, branch out as an adult, and it did not work out. Especially with him being my boyfriend. And, like, he had sheer lack of responsibility, sheer lack of priority. Just, I'm like, dude, we're out of high school. Like, get with the program. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And he couldn't even get that right. And I hated that I wasted 3 years of my life, like being with him. And, like, mind you, the 2 years prior to that, like, we were talking, and he was just part of the friend group, and he wanted us to get serious. I couldn't take him seriously because apparently somebody from his friend group went through his phone, contacted me, and told me, I don't know if you knew about this or are aware of this, but he's actually talking to another girl in a different city. And I was just like, oh no, you don't have to say anymore, but you can also tell him for me that he can go fuck himself. So that was also another reason why I kind of like avoided him for a while. And then next thing you know, he's like blowing up my phone, like trying to get in contact with me, like trying to talk to me. And I was just like, okay, so whoever went through your phone and got my phone number is not a friend of yours, because either you're lying to me or you're lying to that other girl that they mentioned. He was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you do. But at the end of the day, whoever went through your phone to get my phone number, you need to fucking check their ass out, because I don't play that shit. So, as we're actually working towards the first year of our 3-year relationship, it was the same shit. Like, nothing improved, nothing progressed, and I'm like trying to start college, also trying to juggle in between that and work and dealing with him, and then wanting to be involved with my family. My family hated his ass because of the exact person that I just mentioned. He was so bad. Like, it didn't take him until to leave to a different city to get a job, and that was roughly like a year and a half later. So we've been in and out of the relationship, just struggling to like come to terms, what are we to one another, to a point where, like, don't get me wrong, you're not supposed to raise your hands on anybody, but when enough is enough, like, I struck first. I was just tired of his shit. And then it got to a point where, like, he was tired of me pushing him around to where we both became physically abusive to one another. And because he wasn't understanding or was refusing to understand what I needed him to do as my partner, like, he was still doing the shit that he was doing. And during this time, when PS4 was going through that bundle where you pay like a premium amount at the beginning of the month because of some some tin box and some merch inside of the bundle that comes along with the game. That's what he was doing whenever um, I needed him to help me with bills. And I'm like, I'm the one with 2 jobs. I'm the one with the car. I'm the one paying for food and gas. And what are you doing? You're paying rent to sleep on a 1-inch mattress topper when we could be doing other stuff with the type of income that we were bringing in. But you're having to pay for very little for rent, and then you're buying an exuberant amount for something that is meant for temporary relief. And then once our roommate saw like how he was treating me and how he was viewing the situation, one of them brought it up to my attention and got his brother involved and kind of smooth talked his way into it. Like, he liked me, his brother by the name of NP. We talked it out, you know, and we had a heart-to-heart conversation, and he was wondering, you know, how could you stay with someone for so long, and, you know, someone like you should be appreciated and valued, and he does not do that. And I was just like, I know. He's like, you cook, you clean, you go to work, you get the bills paid, you get the job done. And he's here just fucking around wanting to party. And I'm like, you're right. So with NP, he based off that observation due to his own jealousy. Because come to find out, even though I had enough, and reluctantly enough, I cheated on Frankie with him. Look, we got our shits, okay? Like, when you've talked it out with somebody for far too long on a repetitive status and nothing, like, improves, I'm sorry. Like, for me, I was already becoming emotionally detached, especially after we were physically fighting one another. Like, why would I tolerate anything else that he did say or do? I wouldn't. So yes, like, for as many times he's hurt me, and for many times he's, like, you know, threw me under the bus, like, of course I cheated on him. And then NP, I'm sorry, wasn't no better. He was 10 times worse, the party animal. He allowed his best friend to basically be the gateway drug of them spending time with each other and hanging out, as long as, hey, I got the supply, let's go party. Like, you don't even have to tell your girlfriend type of deal. And how I knew that his best friend was doing that, and I wouldn't even label him as a friend for fucking starters, I had caught NP with a needle after I came home from work. And I'm just like, I work 2 jobs, and I have not gotten a single text from you all day. And the moment I come home from a long day's work, you're doing this shit? So ever since then, I've been on his ass about, like, okay, well, I need for you to, you know, chill the fuck out or go to rehab. One or the other. And I think the stern reaction to that should have been, go to rehab or we're done. And that was 2 extra years of that bullshit. However, during the last year of our relationship, I was slowly and already becoming emotionally detached to him. And I think half a year before we broke up, he had OD'd every week up until my birthday. So the first week, OD'd. Second week, OD'd again. And the third week, OD'd. And you only get 3 doses of Narcan a month. Like, that is their regulated and max amount that they are allowed to administer. And I told NP, I'm like, if you end up ODing again, I'm not coming back with the car. I don't care. I will discuss with your mother about what needs to be done about me keeping the car, because obviously he was going to use it to go get drugs. And he's done it before, because one of those days that I needed to go to work, he was gone. No contact, complete ghost. And he didn't show up until like either a day or two later, only to tell me that I feel ashamed. And I'm just like, just tell me. Because first off, you made me miss a day of work. Like, what is going on, Nick? What did you do? He was just like, I got robbed. And how I came upon that information, I was just like, why is there footprints on your window? And I was like, did you cheat on me? He was just like, no, I got robbed. And I was just like, so the girl was sitting in the front seat and the guy was in the back seat? He's like, I couldn't look, but it felt like he had a gun to my head. And I'm just like, are you sure it was a gun? Because there's an empty lighter back here. So I think in the midst of him being high and being distracted by the female in the front, the guy held the empty lighter to his temple and basically told him to drop us off here, empty out your wallet, and, you know, we go peacefully. And then ever since then, like, he was just in a really bad mental funk before I got the information out of him. And I'm just like, we can't do this crap anymore. Going to rehab, you know. And it took him 3 months to finally get admitted. And then as he's getting admitted, like, my whole reality, my whole perspective of relationships just, like, after he OD'd, I was tired of it. You know, I was just like, I'm not doing any more of this crap. I'm sorry. Like, I fought long and hard for literally the whole time we were together for you to finally get admitted to rehab. I'm like, it shouldn't have taken you this long. It took our relationship for you to finally get into rehab. So after I broke it off with him, I don't even want to talk about this next guy. Let's just say he lost his grandmother. And in the midst of him losing his grandmother, got a temporary female pregnant. And from what I gathered, they were only together for 2 months. After getting her pregnant, and she basically bailed out of the relationship because she didn't want to have a kid with him. She didn't want to be married to him. Like, she didn't want the whole family dynamic with him. And completely understandable. You guys were like, what, 20, like early 20s. I'm gonna go ahead and just spitball. They were probably like in their early 20s. And I get it. Like, you know, you're still young. You still want to venture out. You still want to explore. And all that, while it was going on, he ended up being charged with a felony. And throughout all of that, he had always asked me, you know, when are you coming back? When are you moving back? Like, I have this going on, and, you know, I wouldn't mind you being your roommate. Or, you know, we can be roommates type status. And I'm like, well, I gotta get this done with my job before I can move back, and then I gotta get my parents to help me, you know, get my stuff moved down from this city. So, and luckily the city was only like, give or take an hour, 15 minutes away, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I move in with this guy. He told me he had a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It was very small for, for a simple, separate roommate housing situation. And even though that me and him were on the sidelines involved with one another, it was really a complicated situation, because he had a lot going on. He got freshly charged with a felony. He just exited a relationship with this one female that basically scared her away. And he lost his grandmother, someone that he was very close to this same year. And for me, the entire time, like, I thought we were strictly roommates. That's it. He wanted to be more than that, but he couldn't find the words to express that. He's deemed it as through actions, I tried showing you what I want. And I was just like, no, you didn't. Because what you showed me was you're still doing the shit that I was afraid of you doing. And it was him talking to multiple females. And he validated that, or he confirmed that. And nowhere where I was a part of that priority list, because he was talking about how, like, his friend bailed out on him, and I'm like going back, because these were movie dates that he was set up. And when he was just like, my friend bailed out on me, I'm like a group of friends or one person? So there were, I think, 2 occasions where the friend bailed out on him and we ended up watching a movie. And I would be like, is there anybody else coming? Or, for all I know, did you lie about the friend bailing out on you, but that was your inadvertent way of asking me to go to the movies with you? So, naturally, me not having anything else to do, I went along with it. Whatever. And there were situations where I asked him, so what are we? It's just like, we aren't anything. And I'm just like, okay. And the previous 2 times I confessed to him, just completely just dropped in a puddle of tears. That was my final confirmation, and that's when I started branching out and talking to the other guys. So I'm just like, okay, since we're not anything, like, and then I have no obligations to you. Since we're gonna keep doing the shit that we're doing, and you're not wanting to take a step forward to making it a serious thing, I'm gonna go talk to other guys. And then he got mad about that. And I'm just like, you said we weren't anything. And then when I got done with that, I went out on, I went out on 2 dates with 2 different guys. It didn't really go anywhere. One of them, only, I was a rebound, because he was getting back at his ex, who he was still having sex with, and she thought they were still together because they were having sex. I'm just like, I'm not wanting to be a part of that mess. Because she tried to confront me at my job. And he told me, I don't know if you knew, but we were right behind you. And she looked like she had words to say. And I'm just like, I don't know why she didn't say them. She's just all bark, no bite. So I wasn't worried about that. And I basically ghosted him after I realized, like, the type of person that he was. And we just didn't continue from there. Respectfully, of course. And the other guy that I went on a date with, he took me to the state fair. Very sweet, because I told him, because I work so much, I never had time to go. He was just like, well, I have some free time. Do you want to go? And I'm like, sure, let's go. And it was nice, And that was it. I'm sorry, he didn't really give me the wow factor. He was just a gentleman. And then when I learned that there was an incident at his job, he ended up getting concussion. And I felt really bad. And that was something that he needed to, figure out on his own. Like, me and him, we weren't seriously involved with one another. But I also felt like, for someone who just recently got promoted as a supervisor and just got inflicted with a concussion, it's just like, that's a lot going on. And he was just getting his apartment. Like, he was very well established for someone that, to do what he was doing. And me personally, I'm just like, I'm not there yet, because I have obviously a lot of baggage going on here, especially with the guy that I was involved. And I did not want to pull him into that. So, as softly as I could, I told him that, I was just moving on with my life. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. And he was just like, well, I want to be a part of that. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think that can happen. And then after, we both went ghost status, I ended up changing my number. So, oh wait, there was another guy. Ugh, he was a one night stand. He doesn't matter. He doesn't count. So after I got done with all of that, I still felt like I was missing something. And the final wake up call was, me and this one guy I'm living with as roommates. Both of our phones, okay, this was the wake up call, alright? Both of our phones are on the charger, and they're on the same nightstand, and at this point we're sleeping in the same bed, because he didn't like the fact that I was setting up the other room with my stuff, talking about, oh, you slept in my bed before, I don't know why it's any different. I'm like, because you asked me to be your roommate, not your girlfriend. That's what it. Oh, excuse me. As I'm reaching for my phone, such great timing, his phone lights up, and he got a text that said good morning, and the name of this person said sweetheart. So I grabbed my phone, I laid back in my spot on the bed, and was just browsing through Facebook. I don't know what I was doing at the time. I just know I was on my phone. I'm just gonna wait for this asshole to wake up. So roughly, I guess 15-20 minutes later, he's moving about, he's waking up, he was just like, what time is it? And I was just like, I don't know, why don't you ask your fucking sweetheart what time it is, because she sent you good morning. And he was like, don't start that. I'm like, don't start what? Like, you have the fucking audacity to want to start a relationship with me, or like try to, but you're going out of your way to nickname me bitches in your phone. And his reason was, that's because I have multiple girls of the same name in my phone. And I'm just like, oh, so you're talking to multiple bitches now. That was it. That was it. I was just like, I knew you were doing this shit, because you're lying to her, you're lying to me, you're lying about this whole fantasy about us being in a relationship, because I confirmed 3 different occasions what were we, and for him to say we weren't anything, and that being the wake-up call, I was just like, I'm not playing games anymore. So I got one of my friends, DW, who is now EW, to help me move my stuff out of this house. And then he's getting mad. He's huffing and puffing. He's grabbing his bat. He's going outside. And then DW was just like, he's not going to do anything, is he? Because I will fucking beat his ass regardless that he has a bat. And I was just like, he's not going to do anything, I promise. Like, he has a felony charge. He's definitely not going to do anything, so you're fine. Helping me get the stuff out of his house. and going through our bits, whatever. I mean, we're still in communication with one another and all that good stuff, but already I am trying to get away from him because I had pursued an actual love interest, somebody that wanted to go to the next level, someone that wanted to grow with me, to mature with me, to, progress this ever challenging road called life with me, And unfortunately, he was 3 years younger than I was, or than I am, because he still is. And he was such a perfect little liar. And I say perfect because on the surface level, he was, too good to be true, like too perfect. And then once I found out his personal situation, his family history, and like some outside people, that's when I was just like, it all adds up, because that was another 2.5 years of my life that I wish I never wasted. I should have just focused on my career and my money, my education, than to worry about wanting to elevate with somebody that was not ready to tackle on that obstacle with me. Neither one of them. Because I ended up marrying him, and a lot of my friends thought we were moving too fast, and I was just like, well, the thing is, like, he says he's ready. He's shown me that he's ready. And I have made sacrifices. He has made sacrifices. We've literally given each other equal give and take. And that's why I said he is a perfect little liar. And with little liar part, well, I asked him the day that he wanted our separation, which led to our divorce, what we had, was that ever real to you? Yes or no? He said yes. I'm like, nope, that's a fucking lie, because if it was, you wouldn't be doing any of this shit. So, as we're, waiting for the separation year to, sum itself up and then divorce to be finalized, I'm like, thank fucking God, because he was mad that I didn't want to sign the divorce papers. I'm like, I'm mad because you're lying about providing financial support for your daughter before and after she was born. Oh, mind you, I am 2 months pregnant after he said that we needed, he thinks that we should split up. No, I want a divorce. So that's how I knew outside forces got involved. And, the first entire time before his daughter was born, I was trying to talk it out with him, like, see what was going on. He was already involved with another female, and that's why I call him a little liar, because this female had made it known that they have known each other since their daughter's parents' conference meeting or whatever. So I can imagine that probably since she was 4 years old, and at the time she was 7 or 8. Hold on. 7, when we had split up. So they, from sheer topical observation, from what she told me and what he told me, I'm led to believe that they've known each other very, very, very long time before I ever came into the picture. And the only reason why she didn't pursue him is because she was still with the father of her two children. So, she got mad at me because I kept asking about him, about providing financial support, and then she went off completely off tangent about, stupid shit that don't mean anything. And I was just like, I don't even know why I'm talking to you about this, because this doesn't even involve you. And then she ended that whole conversation with, he doesn't have any money. I'm like, well, he should have thought of all that before we got our divorce, so now you're part of the problem. Welcome to the family. So he avoided a year and a half of providing financial support. I know this is so the things I do as far as a relationship.